I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of topic that can make me kind of unpopular, but I I do think societies make this basic mistake. They think good like that the that ordinary people are good. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm not arguing that like ordinary people are purely bad. I would say they are like rather morally gray kind of. They often somewhat like their children. They often want to be good to the people they feel close to, but they can also be really bad in certain situations. Um, like, I don't know, like, you would think, for example, that the people who hit their, okay, I don't know if you would think that, but you might think that the people who hit their children or who hurt other people's feelings or something like that are like, I don't know, the 10% of the most toxic people or something like that. But probably they are not necessarily the silent majority, but like a non significant number of people that we generally call ordinary people. Like, and there are many of them, like, it's not that they kill anyone or do really bad shit. They just are the kind of people you give them money, they don't give you money, they don't pay you back. You uh, like it's more like they do with what they can get away. It's not like they do any stuff that would land them in prison or something like that. They do sometimes tax evasion here and there because I mean fuck the government, why not? And yeah, so I don't know. I think in democracies especially you tend to think we like to some extent the belief that ordinary people are good strengthens democratic legitimacy in the sense that if good people vote for some guy it means that it matters or that kind of legitimizes their vote somehow. But yeah, like I would say human moral goodness is kind of bell shaped, and there are really good people, but there are also really bad people, and most people are somewhere in between. Of course, how you categorize bad and good people depends a bit on your definition. Like there are people, for example, that had went through interesting life decisions, and then they kind of become better or worse over time. Yeah, I don't know. So I kind of yeah, I don't know. It's difficult for me to understand this. Like why people so often think that the common man is good. But I also think that the common man is the majority. Okay, I call it man, but the common person or the ordinary person is the majority of people. And then they kind of think like they are aware that they themselves aren't like perfect. I think a lot of people are aware that they are not perfect. So I think there's also some sympathy they show to each other because like they know that they are not morally totally corrupted like a small percentage of people, I don't know, hardened criminals, and they also know they are not total saints. So yeah. Um, I don't know. There are also like a lot of ways to see that. Mm, Like I don't know if if you were in a school class or if you went to work or something like that, I'm not going to shit on my colleagues, but like, yeah, they are. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, and most of them are kind of like, I don't know. But I don't know. There might be also the thing that I view people more negatively because I I'm not very gregarious, so perhaps it's just me viewing people not so well. And I sometimes wonder how much this influences uh, different communities or different political positions. Like for right wingers, I think it's a bit like our guys are good and the other guys, the foreigners, I don't know, the Jews sometimes are bad. For very hardcore left people, it's like, yeah, we, the common people, are good, but the rich capitalists are bad. But I don't know. I like this saying that I once see it. I don't know if it's a saying, but uh, I don't know, from the show Breaking Bad, there, I think Mike says at some point, everything exists. Honorable thieves, corrupt cops, everything kind of exists. And that's also how I think about stuff. There are good foreigners, good locals, bad locals, uh, good women, bad women, good men, bad men, and everything in between. And most of them are kind of in between. Um, yeah, like you can pick all the time some bad individuals out of any group. That's super easy to do. Um, yeah, but I think with extreme positions, like I don't know, both extreme right wing and extreme left wing positions, they kind of think like ordinary people are good, but it's also sometimes with normal liberals. Like they think ordinary people are good, and the only problem in society are with leftists, the capitalists, or imperialism, or I don't know, Jews sometimes nowadays. And with right wingers, it's the Jews, the foreigners. Yeah, that kind of is weird. And both of those people will vote for absolutely the worst kind of human trash possible. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And also, like center left or center right people have this myth, I think. But like, yeah, I think one should have open eyes for that kind of stuff. That people can be bad in many different ways. Like, I don't know, for example, in Germany, 44% of people voted for Hitler, and like, I don't know, that was pretty bad. Like, you couldn't go and say, yeah, he was really a good guy. Like, no, he said he would do terrible things, and then he ended up doing terrible things. So, I don't think the ordinary voter or the ordinary electorate for Hitler was consistently made out of good people. There might be a few good people here and there within the people who within the group of Hitler voters, but I don't know. I would certainly not think that's the majority of people. Ah, yeah, and I don't know. Even now, it's a bit like sometimes voters will vote for obviously corrupt candidates. I myself wonder sometimes how that happens, but I don't know, voters are often very stupid. And perhaps it's also a little bit adverse selection because, like, voting isn't a rational thing necessarily to do. Because, like, okay, I don't know, perhaps in Switzerland or some small shitty country it matters, but in a big country, yeah, you go voting, your one vote doesn't matter at all. So it's kind of a waste in a sense. Of course, if everyone thinks that way, then nobody votes. But yeah, um, like it's something. Once you think about it, you see it everywhere. Like, how many of you really liked your teachers or thought, yeah, my teachers were really, really good people? Yeah, I am sure you had some teachers who were actually really good people, or some bosses who were really good people, but or colleagues who were really good people. But that's kind of the rarity. Like, most people are kind of a little bit annoying, I guess. Uh, yeah. But then I also kind of wonder, what if it's like this? Like, perhaps the people who are annoying for me are not annoying for someone else, and the people I think are good are bad in your view. Like, sympathies can shift from people to people, and what is for me nice behavior could be asshole behavior for you. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. So I am kind of broadly sure of what I'm saying, but I'm not sure in the particular. Like, I'm not sure that humans can kind of agree generally perfectly on who are good people and who are bad people. Um, yeah. For example, I noticed I completely don't have this thing where, men kind of say, like, this woman has a high body count, I hate her. I don't know, I don't have that. But what I do have is like, this person ghosted me, I don't like them. I do have that. So people kind of have really different values as well. Mm. I don't know, perhaps I'm spiritually Jewish. I don't know, I might use that word wrongly, but I think I don't get offended if somebody says something mean to me but lets me talk. Like, lets me reply. I kind of get offended when somebody says something mean to me and then goes on complaining about me and I'm not supposed to defend myself. So I, I, I think a lot of people would get really offended by people saying mean stuff to them. I kind of don't, but I get really offended if somebody doesn't let me speak or if somebody mm, stops communicating with me, I guess. Like, with honest back and forth, it's kind of comfortable because you show other people your place. kind of where you are coming from. But if you don't get any feedback, then you are like, okay, you have no idea what went wrong. But then I also can understand why they don't give you a feedback, because they are kind of thinking, if I would really say what I'm thinking, then this guy would get really offended. And honestly, I kind of do that sometimes too. So, yeah, like, mm, that's, I think, why you should be kind of forgiveful, because you, even if somebody refuses to speak to you, perhaps they went through bad experiences confronting other people with their issues, like that you have with other people. Like, it takes kind of a bit courage to go and say to somebody, yeah, I see you want to talk to me, but I really can't stand you. Or you remind me of my, I don't know, toxic uncle or whatever. Like, you can say that, but it takes a bit guts. Yeah. So, and I think the free will is also a hoax. So I kind of think they are not really guilty for the way they are. Even bad people are not really guilty for the way they are. They are just they are just born retarded, or the world made them retarded, and that's how they are going to go on living. And you have to respect that, or you have to at least live with that, because they are retarded. Um, okay, retarded is perhaps too hard of a word. It's more like they are stuck in their ways, like most of humans are kind of stuck in their ways, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm also stuck in my way. Like, I I get really worried that I get scared of things and can't sleep later at night, because it happened to me like 3, 5 times, and since then I became very weird in a sense, especially around diseases and stuff like that, about infections. So I know that the environment made me that way a bit, but there must be also a genetic component to it. And you kind of never know what other humans experience, so perhaps one should not judge them too harshly about that. But then, of course, I have also my fair share of judgment, being judgmental towards people. Mm, yeah, like, I don't know. If you guys kind of want to ask questions, then you can actually ask them. I don't know. If I deem them interesting enough, I might answer. Uh, yeah, I have a lot of time actually, because my, like, I don't. I'm kind of an unemployed student, but at the same time, I make money on the stock market, and I'm kind of good at it, and really lazy too. So I am most of the time at home sitting around and thinking, kind of. And I don't get bored easily too, so I can do that shit all day. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I might try to engage you guys, but you can also engage me. I don't mind that. Um, yeah. I don't know. The other day, there was some like person said something like they they hate men. I don't know. I think this is a very tiresome way to live. I don't know. This is a bit off topic though, but like you, this is just so. Like imagine you wake up, you hate men. You go sleep, you hate men. That's such a bad thing to live with. I don't know. The Egyptians used to say like your soul has to be on balance, like light as a feather. Then you can go to the Egyptian religion's paradise. But if your soul is too heavy, then you get destroyed or something like that. So I don't know. I think living with hate like that makes you bad. It doesn't just make you bad, it makes your life bad too. It causes you suffering. So yeah. I don't know, once I heard this theory, I think Zizek talked about this, that being evil is kind of spiritual, more spiritual than being good. And I kind of a bit agree. Like, the worst thing a secular person can be is he might be egotistical. Like, he might get egotistical and just think about himself. That's kind of bad, but it's not too bad, I guess. Like, he probably won't rape anybody, he probably won't kill anybody because that lands him in prison. Unless he's one of those genius guys who thinks he can get away with, which most people can't. But yeah, like he won't do the worst shit. But if you are spiritual and evil, you can go really into dark places, I think. Like, mm, I don't know, look at those like Islamic State guys. They kind of did the worst shit ever, and they were devout Muslims according to themselves, of course. Uh, sorry, devoured, not devoured. Devoured means eating something. Divine? No, not divine. Devout, devout. Yes, devout is the right one. Yeah, they thought of themselves as devout Muslims, but they did their fair share of cruelties. So, I don't know. I kind of think it's a bit true. For example, I don't know. I often thought like the way communists thought about themselves also displays a little bit of spirituality. Like, if they were really materialist, I would think they would be like, why fight a revolution? Why fight a war? I can just sit, dodge service, dodge military service, and enjoy my life. But they kind of thought, I have to liberate the working class because it's kind of a historic necessity. So, in a sense, they were not really materialist, because if you are really materialist, you want to maximize your long-term pleasure, and you don't do it by taking risks and doing revolutions. That's like a stupid thing to do if you are just materialistic, I would think. If you just would believe in the physical world. But then, of course, for example, uh, like um, the Peter Singer guys, what are they called? Altruists, like effective altruists. They are technically also secular, at least most of them, but then they are very, very, very involved in utilitarianism. So, in a sense, probably they are not that secular as they think they are. Because I would think if you are really secular, you are basically a hedonist over the long run. Like, you can be a hedonist, like I think I am one, where you think like your long-term benefit is very strongly linked to other people's long-term benefit, and where you think kind of that um, like in your DNA or in your brain there's a hard-coded thing that is altruism, and you get kicks, you get happy if you help people. Like, you see that helping people makes you happy, and that's why you do it. But they kind of think they have to give away their stuff. Uh, yeah, it's not like I think they are bad people or anything. I just think perhaps because they believe so strongly in utilitarianism, they are in a weird way spiritual. Spiritual in the most broadest sense possible you can describe the word. So, like, that's kind of my feeling, I guess. But again, perhaps they are also not really spiritual. It's more like a self justifying thing. Like, uh, I'm valuable because I would like to help people. It's like giving them kind of an identity. But I don't know. I'm just speculating about their reasons. Like, it might be more useful to talk with one of them actually. Um, yeah, I don't know. In between, I have to think sometimes. But, like, I don't know. For example, did you notice that, I don't know, like, sometimes when you think about something or you have a reason to do something, then you don't know really what the reason was. This experience must be kind of quite common. Like, for example, you help somebody. Do you really help somebody because it makes you feel good? Because you're concerned about that person? Or because of some other reason? Like wanting to be valuable as a human being? Or I don't know. So we kind of have an easy time saying we did A and B for that and this reason, but it's really hard to pinpoint what it really was. Like, sometimes it's easy to say, yeah, it was because of that. But like, we are kind of complicated, but we also don't have a good surface interface in the sense of how complicated we are. Like, there's in a way an iceberg, and we see a small part of it that is out of the water, and most of it is kind of under the water, and we don't know the real reasons for why we act one way or another way. Mm. I don't know, I find it kind of fascinating. It's not really a proof that free will doesn't exist, but it kind of indicates that a bit, I guess. Like, if you are not even aware why you do something, like, you are not even truly aware of your motives for acting in one or another way. So, yeah. but those videos, like this video, I kind of do because I have a lot of time, I guess, and also because I want to have investors. Because if I have investors, then I can subtract a small fee from them and make more money over time. But I also at the same time don't really care if I find any investors because it kind of might not matter at the end. While at the same time, I kind of a bit hope that I will find friends by getting an audience that I enjoy spending time with. But at the same time, I'm like a bit worried that people will get offended or some, I don't know, what is that called? Okay, some guy with mental illness will think that my videos are secret messages, which they are definitely not. And I don't know. For example, I kind of don't have the brain for that. I I'm really not good at giving secret messages to people, or I really don't like the idea in the sense that I like if things are transparent. I am perhaps one of the people who hates indirect speech or like hints the most of any person. Like it's so annoying to speak to somebody who you have to think what they really could have meant. It's so annoying, kind of. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Now that you, I think also it's a bit weird how I am supposed to address audiences. Like I can refer as you, but often then there are no audiences. So I'm like, who are you even talking to? So yeah, I don't know. Uh, like they said, I don't know. Perhaps I should make more shorts. Then they will get more of an audience. But then I also think, do I really want to make shorts? They can be. I don't know. Like there are more interesting people who can make shorts. Like for example, this video is kind of improvised. It's not curated, but the people who make those shorts, they kind of want to get famous a bit and don't have so many mixed feelings about it. Yeah, like I care about keeping my anonymity a bit, but at the same time, I'm a bit like, fuck, nobody's watching you anyways, so who gives a fuck? So, yeah, I think I will keep my name secret unless somebody doxes me, then I guess I have to live with that. But I don't know, why should people dox me? Though I have sometimes controversial opinions, I guess. Mm, yeah. For example, I don't know, this is so. Okay. Like, I always wondered why right wing parties in almost every country are so obviously corrupt. Like, in Germany, that's so obvious. It's not like like the Christian Democrat Party of Germany isn't that much corrupt, but like I would say they get perhaps way more issues with like they have often but more connections to industry, and then when they do like government contracts, they get government contracts to their friends from time to time. Like that happened with one politician in Germany. On the US it's Trump. Like okay, with Trump it's like he's blatantly corrupt. That's very obvious, but I don't know. I see a pattern a bit. Like this happens often. I don't know. The only party that I think is right wing and wasn't corrupt, of my memory is the LDP of Japan, I think. But even they have their shits going on, I think. Like I don't know, this prime minister who got shot, like, didn't he had those weird connection to this stupid church that's that took all the money of that poor woman whose son went to the self-defense forces of Japan and then ended up killing the ex-prime minister. Yeah, like, I don't know. And okay, then you might say, yeah, but look, the Social Democrat parties can also be corrupt. And it's true, but it seems to me sometimes like it's mostly in Europe and then it's mostly South Europe. Like in Bulgaria, I think the Social Democrats were corrupt. And in Spain, there was some corruption thing going on once. Or very recently, but yeah. And then I'm thinking, like, how does this add up? You are voting for the corrupt party. But then I also think, like, they probably do that because are like they are like more traditional voters and they want their traditional shit. Like, they don't want LGBTQ stuff, and then they also don't want this uh, transgender stuff. They don't want this immigrants. They don't want immigrants because, I don't know, immigrants are foreigners, I guess, or they're Islamist terrorists. Yeah, I don't know. So perhaps they are just really worried about that. And the fact that their politicians are corrupt is more like a unfortunate coincidence for them and not like something that breaks the back of the camel. Mm. Yeah, and then there's of course Russia, like, I don't know, the most corrupt with a very, very corrupt leadership. Yeah, which is also right wing party. But then also people say stuff like Putin is super based because, I don't know, he was an ex KGB, even though he's also super corrupt. And then there was, like, in Hungary, he was also very corrupt. I don't get it. Like, in Serbia, there's also the prime minister who's very corrupt. About Turkey, we kind of don't need to speak. Um, yeah, I don't know. So, okay, I think I spoke enough, but I don't know. I didn't need to mention this, but it just went through my mind, and then I kind of connected the dots. Like with Britain, I think they have a conservative party that is largely not corrupt. In the Bush era, the American Conservative Party was also not corrupt, I think. Like, the only kind of corrupt guy was uh, Nixon, but he kind of wasn't really corrupt. And yeah, in in France, the conservatives were very corrupt. But I don't know. For example, in South Europe, it seems to me that the left wing and the right wing are corrupt. There's no real difference in Southern Europe. But in Northern Europe, the left wing is almost never corrupt and the right wing is kind of sometimes corrupt, unless it's the Anglosphere for some reason. Until very recently, I would say. The Anglosphere, kind of, even the conservatives aren't corrupt. Yeah. With South Korea, I don't know actually. No, Oh, wait, South Korea had also right wing corruption. I forgot who, but they had like a dictator who kind of was corrupt. Sang something Lee, his name was, and then he got got couped. Sigmund Rhee, some Christian guy it was, I think. He got, however, couped by Park Chung Hee after the Korean War or during the Korean War. Anyways, like, yeah, that was something like that.